Ryan, let's dive into the investigation into the insurrectionists. Now, for the first time in the January 6th case, is the government seeking a domestic terrorism charge against Guy Reffitt. Sorry, I don't know the pronunciation. He was actually the first defendant convicted at trial. Explain to us what this means and why it could affect future cases against those who did participate in the insurrection on 1/6.
Yeah, so there's actually no such thing as a domestic terrorism charge, so to say. It's not like standalone statute. There are specific sort of actions that you can take that are chargeable under a terrorism law, no matter what your motivation was, involving, a train, involving a plane, some certain, spelled out statutes along those lines. But for the most part, because there's not a domestic terrorism statute, when the government actually goes forward and makes this designation and says this was an act of domestic terrorism and they should be punished as though it was an act of domestic terrorism, is after the fact. It's after someone has already been convicted and before they're going to be sentenced. So that's what happened in this case. Guy Reffitt certainly isn't the first defendant to be sentenced. We've had over more than 100 of those now. We have plenty of those now, but he is the first defendant to actually that the government wants to label as an act of domestic terrorism and trigger this sentencing enhancement, which will actually really bump up the number of years that he'll spend behind bars if accepted by a judge. It's sort of a crudgel in a lot of these situations, right? Because it really brings up the number of months that you're exposed to, years that you're exposed to when you actually come time for your sentencing. So that's what Guy Reffitt will find out on August 1st.